Hi everyone, this is my follow-up video to the prediction about Zelensky that I made in the middle of March 2025, and that came true. Back then I said, starting October 2025, we will witness slow but steady decline of Vladimir Zelensky. It will begin with a significant drop in his reputation worldwide. On November 12, 2025, major news outlets reported a corruption scandal shaking the political sphere in Ukraine. Actually, FBI involved, I guess, and it had an immediate effect on Zelensky's standing as well. This is exactly the kind of reputational decline I described in my video. The weakening comes from public trust issues, not a sudden political fall. And the timing began right from October, just as the astrological indicators suggested to me. So in this video, I want to look deeper into his chart and outline the dates in the coming year that show the next stages of this downward trend for him. So after my first major prediction came true that Donald Trump would win the presidency, and by the way, I just published a book about this. It's live on Amazon, and you're welcome to check it out. There's another smaller mundane prediction also came true back in February, and it was made in a chat with fellow astrologers. So all I have is screenshots. So on February 22nd, I presented an experimental technique that links immediate events to short windows of planetary activation. So based on this transit through sensitive point in the chart of Zelensky, I said that he would receive visible public support, which happened, and he spoke at European Summit about strengthening a united military structure, and audience was applauding to him, actually. And I also mentioned that he would face obstacles from higher authorities around February 28th. And at that moment, there was no rumors about upcoming meeting between Zelensky and Trump, and yet soon afterwards, the news confirmed exactly that. And we all know how that meeting went. So for me, this was an important sign that this experimental method is working, and now I'm using it almost daily, and it's especially useful in making solar return charts and yearly forecasts for people. So now, using a mathematical ancient technique from Ashtakavarga, which is part of classical Vedic astrology, the months of March and especially April 2026 look dark for him. These months carry danger for a large part of the world's population, and I speak about this in my Dangerous Dates video, so you can check it out as well. But for him in particularly, combining with his planetary periods and from different dasha systems that I use to cross-check everything, everything points toward a significant and steady downfall. I created a masterclass, actually, where you can learn how to count those dangerous months for yourself and your loved ones. It is available in my Patreon page. So, the solar eclipse in February 2026 will take place in his 9th house. By the way, again, on my Patreon, I just published the first chapter of possibly future book about eclipses up until 2034, and it's, you're welcome to check all the detailed information about this eclipse. And so it takes place in his 9th house. In mundane terms, this house governs international relations, alliances, political ideology, courts, higher leadership. An eclipse here often changes the direction of a country's foreign policy or reveals hidden tensions with global partners. So, this eclipse will oppose his natal Saturn in Leo, aligned with Regulus, the royal star of power and authority. You need to listen very carefully. Saturn is a crucial planet for Zelensky. It is his link to leadership. This is where all his, the concentration of his power and his ability to stand difficulties are happening. And it's standing in the nakshatra Magha. It is also the planetary ruler of his fate until the fall of 2026, based on Shodashotri Dasha. It is the same Saturn that is still active in planetary period in Ukraine's inauguration chart, the one that froze the country in place because elections were not held due to the war. And that Saturn there in Uttarashadha Nakshatra, and the symbol of Uttarashadha Nakshatra is a warrior who cannot be conquered. So this is a symbol, a very symbolic picture of where Ukraine is standing, and it cannot move forward. And so this same Saturn sits with Saturn in NATO's natal chart, and with Saturn in Emmanuel Macron's natal chart, and all with the star Regulus. So the higher judgment is approaching for all of them, I have a feeling. But also there's a Ketu transiting the same Leo in Magha Nakshatra that rules it. So, interesting. We will witness how this all unfolds during the first 6 months after February 2026 solar eclipse. Now, that the prediction from March 2025 about the beginning of his reputational decline is already coming true, we can say with a confidence that his time as a political figure is limited. And here I want to outline the sensitive dates that stand out for me as an astrologer. So it is January 20th, 2026, it is February 28th, 2026, and 15th March 2026. There's also dangerous Pluto transit close to his Sun and Venus. And Venus is a double Karesh in his chart, and the Memshotri sequence is bringing him into Moon-Venus period, starting May 2026. So from 25th January 2026, he has the Varshaphala chart, and he has Venus as the Lord of the Year. And again, Venus is a double Karesh. That is a crucial point in analysis that some astrologers tend to neglect. I want to actually make a manual with multiple charts that shows why it is so important to pay attention to this position. So this suggests potential escalation again for conflict, and with Venus activated as a lunar Karesh, the internal pressure for Zelensky will be extremely heavy. Pluto passing over the Sun rarely brings anything easy. At the start of 2026, Pluto will sit in exact conjunction, bringing major complications. This transit signals deep political, personal, and philosophical changes that can either strengthen a leader or take him out of power. And so in his case, the rest of the chart makes the direction clear. Everything is sliding downward. Another major blow appears in the autumn, fall of 2026. It will be fall for him in the fall of 2026. If he somehow manages to stay afloat through all of this beginning of 2026, the fall of 2026 should remove him from the power entirely. The chart points to October 2026 as the decisive moment. This is the picture that forms from his chart and from upcoming cycles. The pattern has been clear for a long time, and the developments of late 2025 only confirm the direction. The next year brings turning points that will shape both his personal path and the broader political landscape around him. Thank you for watching and for following this long-term forecasts with me. If you want to study the full method I use for these predictions, the link to my new book is in the description. I will keep tracking the key dates and continue sharing updates. Thank you for staying with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.